If you want to build a really successful online reselling business, I recommend you watch this video all the way until the end. Good afternoon everybody, I'm going to be talking today about how I was able to increase my eBay sales even more over the Christmas period. And by the way, this is not exclusive to Christmas, this can be useful any time of the year, any year in the future. I want to explain how this is done and how you guys can capitalize upon this too, because no matter what industry you're in, you can take advantage of this if you're a reseller or a dropshipper. Let me explain what I'm talking about and how I've managed to grow my business even more. Now before I jump in, I must say I've started a Discord group recently. The link to that will be in the description. It is a paid Discord, but we speak about all different sorts of businesses. Everything that you can see here on the channel I will discuss in more detail, and it's a very interactive community with me and other members who will be on there, so I hope you will join. It's only $19.99 a month. But let's now get to the bit that everybody wants to know. How can you massively increase your sales? Well, it's actually quite easy. One thing that I realized over the Christmas period when I was looking for new items to list and sell is, what are all of the sellers doing the same? Something which I then cannot do, something which I can then supersede and get much better sales for. Now if you look at dropshipping and reselling as a whole, there's one thing that's common. It's a business which people have massive abilities to scale but simply do not want to. Now whether we're talking about Shopify dropshipping, Amazon, eBay, Etsy or anything else, there's one thing that you'll find with a lot of these shops. They all fall into one category no matter what industry they're in, and a lot of the time that is cheap goods. Most of the shops that I see are selling cheap items in every different market. Now there's nothing wrong with that. Whether we're selling lights or laptops, one thing becomes common. Everyone knows that the consumer wants to get the best price possible, but that doesn't mean that they necessarily want cheap items. But most people don't want to risk a lot of money and want to make as many sales as possible, so they think that selling cheap items is a way to go. Now in 2024, which is what we're coming into now, the cheap item market in almost every single niche is massively overcrowded. There's no room for cheap items anymore. You can still make some sales, but as someone who has a reselling business, actually has two, I'm going to tell you guys for a fact, especially in the past few weeks, most of my sales have been from more high ticket items. And when I say high ticket items, I'm talking about the cheapest prices being $60 or $70 or pounds, and the highest ones being well up of over £200. Now obviously that means that you have to have a lot more skin in the game for potential returns, refunds and lost items that may occur, but think about this logically. It becomes a point where that actually is worth it because the risk that you're taking allows you to prosper a lot more. If I'm trying to sell this £10 item, there's one thing that you're going to see. A lot of people are going to be willing to take a cheaper price on it, which means that you're going to have to probably mark down or actually risk less sales, and a lot more people will have the ability to sell this product. A lot more people will be willing to sell this product, and that's fine, but it means that unlike a £300-400 item, for example, where there may only be 3 or 4 sellers of that item, with a £2 or £3 item, there might be 500 sellers of that item or a similar item. You see, when you get into the more high price items, these are generally speaking more bespoke. And I think that this definitely attracts a different sort of client. Now the people who spend £300, £400, £500 on items that are non-essentials have money to spend, and these are the customers that therefore are likely to give you the least trouble and ultimately the best experience. Now there will of course be the odd scammer here and there, but so far I've not really had any problem with the high ticket items. And it's funny that I should say that because most of the issues that I've had, whether it be returns, refunds, problems as a whole, come from the items that I sell or have sold in the past that have been £35 and under. As a matter of fact, the most trouble, and I will remember this for a very long time, that I ever had with an item was an item that I sold for only about £12. These are the customers that seem to have the largest problems, where the ones where it's £100, £200, £300, £400 items don't seem to have much trouble with it at all, much trouble with anything that may occur. Now of course still aim for good customer service, but high ticket items is where it's at. Another great thing with high ticket items I definitely would say is the fact that they are often much higher quality, which reflects better on you as a seller. Like think about it, your business, whether it's drop shipped or your products or not, your business is a representation of how you present it, and ultimately you want to therefore have a business which looks good, products which look good. When you're selling things for £2, £3, £4, they're not the best quality depending on what the item is. A lot of the time they're not. Whereas if you sell something for £50, £100, not only do you have less competition, you have a better product, meaning that A, someone's more likely to give you better feedback, giving you more potential for sales, and B, someone's more likely to come back because they know that your products are worthwhile. Like I said, there definitely are some negatives to selling in the high ticket area. For instance, you may have to put more money up front if you do resell rather than dropship. You have to risk more capital either way, because if items get lost in the post, which can happen from time to time, if items get refunded for whatever reason, if customers do have complaints, the price that you have to basically recover or worry about is a lot more. But like I say, it's a risk to reward thing, and if you sell items that are generally quite reliable, I think that you'll have less trouble anyway than if you were to sell a comparably cheap item in the same field. And this is the thing about being a business person. People tell me all the time that dropshipping is oversaturated, reselling is oversaturated. Well, yes it is, but reselling and dropshipping is a massive, massive umbrella term. What do you resell? What do you dropship? What if I told you that I only dropshipped luxury £350 iPhone cases? It's a very niche product. Obviously that's not what I sell, but you get the point I'm trying to make. People like to make it into a bigger issue than it's not, when in actuality, if you have the will for it, if you have the resolve for it, you will have the ability to find a way that works. But dropshipping as a business model can work. But even now, with my shop, which in the past month has sold about 60 items, I've got to say maybe half or more of my sales, and definitely more than 50% of my revenue, has come from the very high ticket items. And that is the way that I want to keep this business, if not more emphasis on the high ticket items. Again, you have to make less sales generally to make a higher profit margin. You have less to worry about in terms of competition. And I think overall it is going to create the best products, or give you the best products. It is going to create the best opportunities, and it is a way that I personally would try and manage a dropshipping / reselling business if it was something that I was interested in. So that's the latest, and that's what I would say going into 2024. You can make this work if you want to, but again, you do have to want to. If you're not trying, if you're not giving it the full effort, you're not going to succeed. But if you give it a full try, a proper try, and a decent effort at running the business how it should be run, you can make something work in 2024. And that's what I'm going to be speaking more about on the channel in the upcoming year. So I guess that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, of course, don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to join the Discord, which the link to is in the description. And I hope I'll see you in our next video, which will be coming out, of course, very soon. But goodbye for now. See you soon.